Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name's Shadowwraith and today I'm going to be going over my picks for the top 5 competitive characters in the Death Guard Codex. Now, this is thinking of 9th edition, obviously, that's the edition we're in at the moment, and before I carry on with the list, I want to make everyone aware this is my personal preference, how I like to run my lists, what works for me, and what works for quite a few other people I've spoken to. Not all of the characters are going to be in this lot. Obviously, there might be some missing where you think, actually, I've done really well with that character. Why is he not in this top 5? Well, because he hasn't been top 5 for me. That's the simple of it. Now, how does a character get put into my prestigious top 5 list? Well, what they've got to have is a pretty solid stat line. And they've got to give me something to the army. Like, whether that is being a beatstick or awesome buffs or just making other units fantastic. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's what I've been basing them on. And can they be a game winner? Can they really make your list that extra bit spicy so you can take down your enemy that much quicker? Well, yeah. Without further ado, jumping in, we've got the number 5 slot. And this is going to the Plague Surgeon. Now, I know the Plague Surgeon is not incredible. His stat line is pretty much a generic Space Marine character. Movement 5 because he's Death Guard. Weapon skill, ballistic skill 3. Strength 4, toughness 5 because he's Death Guard. 4 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 8, and 3 plus save because he's in power armor. Very nice. He comes with a bolt sword, a bolt pistol, a bale sword, blight grenades, and crack grenades. So yeah, he's not amazing. It's not amazing. He's obviously got Disgustingly Resilient and Death to the False Emperor. Then he's also got Gene Seed Thief, stealing the Adeptus Astarte infantry or bikers Gene Seed, and he's very keen to do this, so he gets the bonus of +1 to hit and wound rolls in the fight phase. That's not bad. It has come in handy maybe a couple of times. But this is why he's in this list. He's got Tainted Narthecium. I don't speak Latin, so I probably said that incorrectly. I apologise. But basically, it's a 3-inch aura. You may reroll all Disgustingly Resilient rolls within 3 inches, of Death Guard infantry. That's pretty. Yeah, you're probably thinking if you haven't used this character before, that's not game breaking. Well, you can make it pretty disgusting, as the title describes. Disgustingly Resilient can become extremely disgusting. Now, I like to run my blob of 20 Plague Marines, okay? We're going to go with Combat Marines here because they're more likely to get shot or beaten up in combat. But if you go Mortarion Chosen Sons, which is a pretty solid one, I like to run them, you can give him the upgrade for 1 CP at the start of the game, before the battle starts actually, and it is called Aelbichal Narthecium. Yeah, I'm going with that. So, you pick one of Mortarion's Chosen Sons Plague Surgeons from your army. Until the end of the battle, replace that model's ability with the following. When making Disgusting Resilient rolls for friendly Mortarion Chosen Sons infantry models, whilst within 3 inches of this model, you can reroll 1s and 2s, or 1s or 2s. That is absolutely horrendous, because my Plague Marines, with 1 spell, can go up to toughness 6, okay? They've got a 3-up save. They can go up to a 2+ save if they're near a Blight Hauler because of his aura of cover. Yeah, 2-up save, toughness 6, Disgustingly Resilient, 5+ rerolling 1s and 2s. Nice, very nice. But that's not all. You can whap on Putrid Fecundity for, it'll be 3 points in the case of a 20-man blob, but 2 if it's 10 or fewer models in that unit. And what that does is you add 1 to the roll of your Disgustingly Resilient, okay? So it becomes a 4-up rerolling, almost, okay? It's absolutely insane. It makes them tough as nails. It's ridiculous. And that's why I bring him, because he's cheap as chips, and he can make your Marines weather a hell of a lot more. Even if you don't bother giving him the upgrade, rerolling 1 for Disgustingly Resilient is very scary, especially when you've got 20 wounds, you roll 20 dice, you're going to roll a few 1s. Rerolling them into 5s and 6s, fantastic. Jumping into the number 4 slot now, we have got the one, the only, the Taliman. Now, the Taliman is absolutely fantastic, in my opinion, because I like running close combat marines. Shooting marines, I think, are more competitive, but combat marines are more fun, because I like getting up and close and personal and spreading the love of Nurgle. So, what does he do? Well, movement 5, weapon ballistic skill 3+, strength 4, toughness 5, 4 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 8, 3+ save. Pretty much copy and paste. He's got a plasma pistol. Okay, cool. He's got blight grenades and crack grenades. Death to the False Emperor, disgustingly resilient, of course. And he's got a couple of abilities. He's got Festering Zealot, so you can reroll all failed hit rolls in the fight phase for friendly Death Guard units that are within 7 inches of this model. That is fantastic if you are running Poxwalkers, or Close Combat Marines, or even Death Shroud Terminators. Why not? Rerolling to hit in combat is so powerful at the moment. Okay, we'll see what happens when the new Codex comes out, but for now, it's fantastic. My beloved 20 Marines, with their dual knives, are going to be dishing out some serious damage with these rerolls and all the buffs you can give them. But that's another video which I've already done of how you can soup up and go mental with these close combat marines. His other ability, basically, as long as you're battle forged, you can roll 2d6 for each command point you use for a Death Guard stratagem. So it won't work for like command point reroll and stuff like that. Just Death Guard stratagems. On the roll of a 7, which is the most common number rolled on a 2d6, you get that refunded. So you won't get like the whole stratagem refunded, you only get 1 back, okay? But that's because of 9th edition and stuff like that. But it's still fantastic. So keeping command points is very, very important. And there's not much more to say about that. You stick him near anything with a Death Guard keyword, re-rolling all failed hit rolls in close combat. Fantastic. Demon Prince with wings charging in, sure. Plague Marines, sure. Poxwalkers, cool. It works quite nicely. That's pretty much it for the old Taliman. I think he's fantastic. Now, we're moving on to the number 3 slot. This was a tough one, because I'll do the honourable mention afterwards. I have gone for the Demon Prince with wings. I've gone for with wings. It doesn't have to have wings. But I think the Demon Prince with wings is worth his money. Okay, 185 points, plus however many points you want to spend on his war gear. Give him whatever you want. I tend to give him either probably 2 Malefic Talons. They're fantastic. If not, the sword. Now, why is this so amazing, this Demon Prince? Well, he's got Demon Prince stats, movement 8 or more with wings, weapon skill 2+, ballistic skill 2+, rerolling 1s because you're a Demon Prince, strength 7, toughness 6, 8 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 10, and a 3+ save. You can give a demonic axe, +1 strength, -3 AP, 3 damage, but you have to subtract 1 from the hit roll, which is why I don't like it, because he has got Death to the False Emperor. Hellforge Sword, strength user, -2, 3 damage. Perfect, love it. And then Malefic Talons, strength user, -2, 2 damage, slightly less, but each time a model with Malefic Talons fights, it can make 1 additional attack with his weapon. A model armed with 2 sets of Malefic Talons can make 3 additional attacks with them instead. So he is now gone up to 7 attacks. That's pretty crazy and pretty scary. -2 is nothing to sniff at. And if you've got a Blight Hauler nearby, you can use Parasitic Fumes, which gives them a 7-inch aura. If the enemy you are fighting with your Demon Prince is within that aura, it pretty much gives you an additional -1 AP onto that. So it'd be -3 AP, 2 damage. So all you're missing from the Demonic Axe really is the +1 strength and 1 damage. But it's cheaper, so who cares? And you've got more attacks, a hell of a lot more attacks. You can go 1 psychic power, so he's got some psychic with him, which is always fantastic. And it's hard to pick the psychic power, probably Blaze Future Faction, it's one of my favourite ones. But of course he's got a 5-up. Demon save. On top of that, disgustingly resilient, of course, because he's Death Guard. So, yeah. Now, the reason this guy is so fantastic is because you can give him the relic of the Sufferating Plate, so basically gives him a 2-up armor save, and Each time you pass a saving throw in the fight phase, you roll a dice. On a 4+, that unit takes a mortal wound. That's pretty crazy. So imagine if you've got a bunch of orc boys on you, throwing a ridiculous amount of attacks. You've got a 2+ save with disgustingly resilient. You're probably going to be fine. Plus you're super tough anyway. And you need to roll 2+, followed by 4+ to dish back damage. And then, if you haven't gone, you get to fight again. Or you've already fought. Horrendous. And if you really want to go for the tanky Demon Prince build, which I have done and I love, you can give him revoltingly resilient warlord trait. This is more about playing hero hammer, as I like to call it, making your hero, like, everything goes on your hero. Who cares about supporting your army? You give him a 4+ disgustingly resilient save, okay, against non-mortal wounds. So, fighting against orc boys, yeah, you got the relic armor, 2+ save. You got your demon save. You've got 4+ disgustingly resilient. After that, if he gets through all of that, and trust me, this guy can take a lot at that point. His reroll 1's auras is absolutely fantastic. A, for himself, and B, for your other troops as well. It's fantastic, especially if you bring plasma. But I don't, not with Death Guard. Now, for the honourable mention, really quick, it was going to be probably the Chaos Lord, okay? I was going to do the Chaos Lord because he's cheap as chips. He does exactly the same thing as the Demon Prince, as in aura-wise. You can give him a bolt pistol and a chainsword, stick, Arch Contaminator onto him, and he can be a pure support hero, okay? He can babysit your Plague Burst crawlers. But I prefer the Demon Prince, in my opinion. I just like him because he can be an absolute beat stick, and you can still stick Arch Contaminator on him if you want to support everyone. The only problem is you don't want him sitting at the back. Not at all. That's pretty much it. Moving on, we've got the number 2 slot. Now, the number 2 slot is a bit tricky, but I think it's absolutely fantastic because it is the Malignant Plaguecaster. The Malignant Plaguecaster, 100 points. He's movement 5, weapon skill 3+, ballistic skill 3+, strength 4, toughness 5, 4 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 8, 3+ save. Okay. He comes with a bolt pistol, a corrupted staff, blight, and crack grenades. He's got Death to the False Emperor, disgustingly resilient, and pestilential fallout. I can read. Each time this model successfully manifests a psychic power within the psychic test of 7 or more, so if you roll a 7 or more, the nearest enemy unit within 7 suffers a mortal wound after you resolve the psychic power effects. It's just a nice bit of damage, okay? Nice extra bit of damage. If you roll a really nice roll, it's a double win because you get the spell off and you also do a little bit of damage, especially when you've got a hero nearby. An enemy hero is like, yeah, just have a mortal wound. Not only that, he can manifest 2 psychic powers, so he's really cheap for what he can do, really. 2 psychic powers, and I definitely bring him with a Demon Prince, at least, to have the psychic powers. And usually I do have Typhus, but that might change. But yeah, psychic powers all over the board, all day long. And yeah, that's pretty much it. He's quite cheap, he's quite effective. He can bring your psychic powers, which is what you want. Stick him behind your blob of Poxwalkers, your blob of Plague Marines, whatever you want. And you can buff them to high heaven. You can give them Blades of Putrefaction, Putrescent Vitality, make them +1 strength, +1 toughness, +1 to wound. If they got plague weapons, they do mortal wounds on a 7+. Yeah, it gets pretty crazy. With them 2 spells on this one character, you can really beef up a unit. And I just love that. Plus, on top of that, he's got a bolt pistol. So if you don't bring the Chaos Lord, you can give him the relic, the Worm Spitter. And basically what that does is you fire it at an enemy unit. If it scores a hit on a 3+, then all attacks against them are counted as plague weapons. And there's a whole other variety of buffs you can do with that. Now suddenly your Poxwalkers have plague weapons. It's nuts. It's really, really silly. Yeah. Blades of Putrefaction on 20 Poxwalkers at strength and toughness 5 near Typhus. It's no laughing matter. And the +1 to wound now. 6 is doing mortal wounds. And here's a question for you. If I have that spell on them, Blades of Putrefaction, Poxwalkers specifically, strength and toughness 5 near Typhus, and I spend 1 CP to give them Mutant Strain, which any unmodified wound roll of a 6 against an infantry unit, inflicts 1 mortal wound, and the attack sequence ends. Because in my head, I'm thinking, obviously, with a bit of, bias, that means if I roll a 6 with this one little Poxwalker, he's doing 2 mortal wounds to you if you're an infantry model. Because Blades of Putrefaction, 7+. I mean, yeah, you have to roll a 6 because they're +1 to wound. It's a mortal wound. And then unmodified roll of a 6, it's still a 6, and it's unmodified for this roll, is a mortal wound. So, have we got damage to Poxwalkers? Yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. But yeah, he can be pretty mental. And last but not least, in the number 1 slot, the must-bring for your Death Guard army, in my opinion. Absolutely amazing. 85 points. Okay, 85 points. We have got, can you guess it? Of course you can. It's the Foul Blightspawn. The Foul Blightspawn is fantastic, okay? Pretty much identical stat line to everything else. 3+3+ strength 4, toughness 5, 4 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 8, 3+ save, movement of 5. Cool. But he is equipped with a Plague Sprayer, which is range of 9 inches. Hopefully that gets increased with all the new special stuff Spaceman's getting. Assault D6. Strength is 2d6, so it could be strength 2 or it could just be strength 12. Pretty nuts. Yeah. AP -3, 3 damage a pop. So, the damage potential is insane. You can just shred people. You can have 6 shots at strength 12 at -3 damage. A potential 18 damage onto something, which is absolutely bonkers. Now, he's of course got Death to the False Emperor, Disgustingly Resilient. He's got Unholy Death's Head. Each Foul Blightspawn carries a single Unholy Death's Head grenade. Once per battle, you can, or another friendly Death Guard character within 3 inches of him, can throw an Unholy Death's Head grenade instead of their normal grenades. And basically what that does is, it is grenade type 2d6. But this is why we bring him. Revolting Stench. Basically, he's got an aura, and if an enemy charges another unit within that aura, they count as having not charged for the purposes of who gets to fight first. It's pretty crazy. And it also stops people who have abilities that act like they get to fight first as if they had charged. So, just the way 9th edition works now is, if I get charged, it's the opponent's turn and they charge me, and they charge within that aura, I get to pick the first non-charging unit to fight with. And because they don't count as having charged, I get to go first. Absolutely bonkers. Anyway, video's getting on. That is my list. Tell me what you think in the comment section down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did I miss anyone? Okay, or did I get it bang on? And if you did like the video, do consider liking it. And if you could be so kind to subscribe, I can promise you I will talk to Papa Nurgle and he will grant you his blessings. In a good way. Have a fantastic day, even if you don't do either of those things, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.